Are you ready to take your Java skills from basic syntax to professional architecture? Most developers know how to create a class, but very few master the nuances of deep inheritance, complex polymorphism, and design patterns that define a senior Java engineer. In this video, we will cover Java Advanced OOP practice questions and professional certification prep. Master advanced Java object-oriented programming with this comprehensive practice guide. In this video, we are diving deep into 30 high-level Java Advanced OOP practice questions designed to mirror the toughest certification exams. We'll cover everything from abstract classes and interfaces to solid principles and advanced memory management. Before we begin, make sure to grab a coffee and a notepad. These questions are designed to challenge your logic. Don't forget to subscribe for more expert Java tutorials. What is the result of attempting to compile and run a Java program where a subclass defines a static method with the same signature as a static method in its superclass? Option A. The method is overridden, and dynamic binding is used at runtime. Option B. The method is hidden, and the version called depends on the reference type. Option C. A compilation error occurs because static methods cannot be redefined. Option D. The compiler throws a runtime exception during the linking phase. The correct answer is B. In Java, static methods are not overridden. They are hidden. Method overriding relies on dynamic dispatch, runtime polymorphism, which applies only to instance methods. For static methods, the compiler uses the type of the reference variable to determine which method to call, not the type of the actual object. This is known as compile time binding. Therefore, if you have a superclass reference to a subclass object, calling the static method will execute the superclass's version. If a class implements two interfaces that both contain a default method with the exact same signature, what must the implementing class do? Option A. Nothing. The compiler will automatically choose the first interface listed. Option B. Declare the class as abstract to avoid resolving the conflict. Option C. Override the conflicting default method to provide its own implementation. Option D. Use the super keyword in the constructor to pick one. The correct answer is C. This is known as the diamond problem of default methods. Because the compiler cannot decide which implementation of the default method should take precedence, it results in a compilation error. The implementing class must resolve the ambiguity by overriding the method. Inside the override, the developer can provide a new implementation or explicitly call one of the interface methods using the syntax: interface name, super, method name. Which access modifier allows a member to be accessed within the same package and by subclasses in different packages through inheritance? Option A. Public. Option B. Private. Option C. Protected. Option D. Default, package private. The correct answer is C. The protected modifier is specifically designed for inheritance. It allows access to the member within the same package, like default access, but extends that access to subclasses located in different packages. However, it is important to note that a subclass in a different package can only access the protected member through inheritance on an instance of itself or its own subclasses, not on an instance of the superclass. Which design pattern is used to ensure a class has only one instance and provides a global point of access to it while ensuring thread safety in a multi-threaded environment? Option A. Factory pattern. Option B. prototype pattern. Option C, Singleton pattern. Option D, builder pattern. The correct answer is C. The Singleton pattern restricts the instantiation of a class to one single instance. In Java, implementing a thread-safe singleton often involves using double-checked locking with the volatile keyword or the bill-pew singleton implementation, using a static inner helper class. This ensures that even with multiple threads, only one instance is created, which is critical for shared resources like database connection pools or configuration managers. Can an abstract class have a constructor in Java? Option A, no, because abstract classes cannot be instantiated. Option B, yes, but it can only be called by subclasses using super. Option C, yes, and it can be used to create an instance using new. Option D, no, abstract classes can only have static blocks. The correct answer is B. While you cannot instantiate an abstract class directly using the new keyword, abstract classes definitely have constructors. These constructors are called when a concrete subclass is instantiated. They are typically used to initialize fields that are common to all subclasses or to execute setup logic that is required regardless of which specific subclass is being created. Consider class B extends class A. If obj equals new B is executed, which of the following is true about obj? Option A, obj can access all methods defined in class B directly. Option B, obj can only access methods defined in class A, even if overridden in B. Option C, obj can access methods defined in A, but if they are overridden in B, B's version is called. Option D, obj will cause a class cast exception at runtime. The correct answer is C. This demonstrates upcasting and dynamic method dispatch. The reference type is A, which means the compiler only allows access to methods declared in A. However, at runtime, Java checks the actual object type, which is B. If B has overridden a method from A, Java's virtual machine, JVM, invokes B's version of the method. This is the core mechanism behind runtime polymorphism. The Liskov substitution principle, LSP, states that Option A, classes should be open for extension but closed for modification. Option B, subtypes must be substitutable for their base types without altering program correctness. Option C, depend on abstractions, not on concretions. Option D, many client-specific interfaces are better than one general-purpose interface. The correct answer is B. Liskov substitution principle. The L in solid ensures that inheritance is used correctly. If a program uses a base class, it should be able to use any subclass of that base class without knowing it and without the program failing. Violating LSP often happens when a subclass removes functionality from a superclass, e.g., throwing an unsupported operation exception for a method inherited from the parent. What happens to an object when it no longer has any references pointing to it in Java? Option A, it is immediately deleted from memory. Option B, it becomes eligible for garbage collection. Option C, the JVM throws an out-of-memory error. Option D, it is moved to the stack memory for faster access. The correct answer is B. Java uses an automatic garbage collector, GC. When an object on the heap no longer has any root references, it is unreachable. It is marked as eligible for garbage collection. However, the GC does not run immediately. The JVM decides when to perform a GC cycle based on memory pressure and the specific GC algorithm, like G1 or ZGC, being used. Which keyword can be applied to a class to prevent any other class from extending it? Option A, static. Option B, abstract. Option C, final. Option D, volatile. The correct answer is C. The final keyword has different meanings depending on context. When applied to a class, it prevents inheritance. This is often used for security reasons or to ensure the immutability of a class. Like the string class in Java, if you try to extend a final class, the compiler will report an error. Which design pattern is best suited for creating complex objects step by step, especially when the object has many optional parameters? Option A, strategy pattern. Option B, builder pattern. Option C, adapter pattern. Option D, decorator pattern. The correct answer is B. The builder pattern is a creational pattern that solves the problem of telescoping constructors, where you have too many constructor overloads. It provides a way to construct an object piece by piece and only calls the final build method when the configuration is complete, making the code much more readable and maintainable. In Java, can a class extend more than one parent class? Option A, yes, using the extends keyword followed by a comma-separated list. Option B, no. Java only supports single inheritance for classes. Option C, yes, but only if all parent classes are abstract. Option D, no, unless the parent classes are final. The correct answer is B. Java supports single inheritance for classes to avoid the diamond problem. Ambiguity when two parents have the same method. However, a class can achieve multiple inheritance of type by implementing multiple interfaces, which is a safer way to provide multiple behaviors to a single class. What is method hiding in Java? Option A, defining a private method in a subclass with the same name as a public method in the superclass. Option B, defining a static method in a subclass with the same signature as a static method in the superclass. Option C, using the final keyword on a method to prevent overriding. Option D, wrapping a method inside another method to restrict access. The correct answer is B. Method hiding occurs when a subclass defines a static method with the same signature as a static method in its superclass, unlike instance method overriding, where the method called is determined by the object's runtime type. In method hiding, the method called is determined by the reference type at compile time. Which statement is true regarding interfaces in Java 8 and later? Option A, interfaces can only contain abstract methods. Option B, interfaces can contain default and static methods with implementations. Option C, interfaces can now be instantiated using the new keyword. Option D, interfaces can have private instance variables. The correct answer is B. Starting with Java 8, interfaces were enhanced to support default methods. allowing developers to add new functionality to interfaces without breaking existing implementations. And static methods. Utility methods belonging to the interface. Java 9 further added private methods to interfaces for internal code sharing. The design principle, favor composition over inheritance, suggests that Option A. Inheritance should never be used in Java. Option B. Objects should achieve polymorphic behavior and code reuse by containing instances of other classes. Option C. All classes should be final to prevent inheritance. Option D. Composition is only useful for UI components. The correct answer is B. Composition involves building complex objects by combining simpler ones. A has a relationship. Unlike inheritance. Composition is more flexible because it can be changed at runtime. It doesn't break encapsulation as severely. And it avoids the rigid hierarchy of deep inheritance trees. When overriding a method that throws a checked exception, the subclass method. Option A. Must throw the exact same exception. Option B. Can throw any exception it wants. Option C. Cannot throw a broader checked exception than the superclass method. Option D. Must not throw any exceptions at all. The correct answer is C. In Java overriding, the subclass method can throw the same exception, a subclass of that exception, or no exception at all. However, it cannot throw a broader, more general, checked exception or a new checked exception. This is to ensure that code written to handle the superclass's exceptions won't be surprised by a more general exception when a subclass object is used. What is a static nested class in Java? Option A. A class that can only be accessed by the outer class. Option B. An inner class that has a reference to the outer class instance. Option C. A nested class that is associated with its outer class, not an instance of the outer class. Option D. A class defined inside a method. The correct answer is C. A static nested class is essentially a top-level class that has been nested inside another for packaging convenience. Because it is static, it does not have a reference to an instance of the outer class and cannot access the outer class's non-static members directly. This is different from a non-static inner class. Inner class, which always has an implicit reference to its outer class instance. Which concept refers to wrapping data, variables, and code methods together as a single unit? Option A. Polymorphism. Option B. Inheritance. Option C. Abstraction. Option D. Encapsulation. The correct answer is D. Encapsulation is the practice of keeping fields within a class private and providing access via public getter and setter methods. This protects the internal state of the object and allows the class to control how its data is accessed or modified, ensuring data integrity. Which method in the object class should you override to provide a string representation of an object? Option A. Hashcode. Option B. Equals. Option C. ToString. Option D. getClass. The correct answer is C. The ToString method is intended to return a concise but informative representation that is easy for a person to read. By default, the object class implementation returns the class name followed by the @ symbol and the unsigned hexadecimal representation of the hash code. Overriding it is standard practice for debugging and logging. The observer pattern is primarily used for Option A. Converting the interface of a class into another interface clients expect. Option B. Defining a one-to-many dependency between objects so that when one changes state, all dependents are notified. Option C. Separating the construction of a complex object from its representation. Option D. Restricting a class to a single instance. The correct answer is B. The observer pattern is a behavioral design pattern used in scenarios like event handling systems, like GUI buttons, or messaging systems. It allows a subject to maintain a list of observers and notify them automatically of any state changes, promoting loose coupling between the subject and its observers. What happens if you try to downcast a superclass reference to a subclass type, but the actual object is not an instance of that subclass? Option A. Compilation error. Option B. The object is automatically converted. Option C. Class cast exception at runtime. Option D. The reference becomes null. The correct answer is C. Downcasting is the act of casting a reference of a parent class to a child class, while the compiler may allow it. If it's a valid inheritance hierarchy, the JVM checks the actual object type at runtime. If the object is not an instance of the target class, a class cast exception is thrown. To avoid this, developers should use the instance of operator before performing a downcast. Which solid principle suggests that classes should be open for extension, but closed for modification? Option A. Single responsibility principle. Option B. Open, closed principle. Option C. Interface segregation principle. Option D. Dependency inversion principle. The correct answer is B. The open, closed principle, OCP, states that the behavior of a module can be extended without altering its source code. This is usually achieved through abstraction, using interfaces or abstract classes. By adding new subclasses or implementations rather than changing existing code, you reduce the risk of introducing bugs into tested, working code. What is the purpose of the super keyword in Java? Option A. To call the constructor of the current class. Option B. To access the members, fields or methods of the immediate parent class. Option C. To create a new instance of the superclass. Option D. To refer to the static members of the class. The correct answer is B. The super keyword serves two main purposes. 1. Calling the superclass constructor. Super must be the first line in the subclass constructor. And 2. Accessing methods or fields of the parent class that have been overridden or hidden by the subclass. In Java, what is early binding? Option A. Binding that occurs at runtime based on the object type. Option B. Binding that occurs at compile time based on the reference type. Option C. The process of loading classes into the JVM. Option D. Automatically initializing variables to 0. The correct answer is B. Early binding, or static binding, occurs when the compiler resolves which method to call at compile time. In Java, static, private, and final methods use early binding because they cannot be overridden. So the JVM knows exactly which code to run without checking the object's type at runtime. Which design pattern provides a simplified interface to a large body of code, such as a complex class library? Option A. Facade pattern. Option B. Proxy pattern. Option C. Flyweight pattern. Option D. Bridge pattern. The correct answer is A. The facade pattern provides a higher-level interface that makes a complex subsystem easier to use. It acts as a single point of entry, wrapping a set of complex classes and exposing only the necessary methods to the client, effectively hiding the underlying complexity. Can a class be both abstract and final in Java? Option A. Yes. It is common for utility classes. Option B. No, because an abstract class must be extended to be useful, while a final class cannot be extended. Option C. Yes, if it contains only static methods. Option D. No, because final classes cannot have any methods. The correct answer is B. This is a contradiction in terms the abstract modifier is a request for someone to extend the class and provide implementations, whereas the final modifier is a strict prohibition of extension. Therefore, the Java compiler will throw an error if you try to use both keywords on the same class. Which part of the Java memory model is used for storing objects and their instance variables? Option A. Stack. Option B. Heap. Option C. Method area. Option D. PC register. The correct answer is B. All objects in Java are stored on the heap. When you use the new keyword, memory is allocated on the heap for the object's instance variables. The stack, on the other hand, stores local variables and method call frames. References to the objects, the pointers, are stored on the stack, but the objects themselves live on the heap. The I in solid stands for interface segregation principle. It suggests that Option A. All interfaces should be in the same package. Option B. A class should not be forced to implement interfaces it does not use. Option C. Interfaces should have at least 5 methods. Option D. Inheritance from interfaces is better than from classes. The correct answer is B. Interface segregation principle, ISP, states that no client should be forced to depend on methods it does not use. Instead of one fat interface with many methods, it is better to have multiple, smaller, and more specific interfaces. This prevents polluting a class with methods that are irrelevant to its functionality. What is the order of execution in Java when a subclass object is created? Option A. Subclass constructor to superclass constructor to static blocks. Option B. Static blocks to superclass constructor to subclass constructor. Option C. Superclass constructor to static blocks to subclass constructor. Option D. Subclass constructor to static blocks to superclass constructor. The correct answer is B. The order is 1. Static blocks of the superclass and then the subclass. Run once when the class is loaded. 2. Superclass instance initializers and constructor. 3. Subclass instance initializers and constructor. This ensures that the base parts of the object are fully formed before the subclass attempts to add or modify state. Which of the following keywords is used to refer to the current instance of a class? Option A, this. Option B, super. Option C, current. Option D, self. The correct answer is A. The this keyword is a reference to the current object, the object whose method or constructor is being called. It is commonly used to resolve ambiguity between instance variables and parameters with the same name, or to pass the current object as a parameter to other methods. Which pattern belongs to the behavioral category of design patterns? Option A, Singleton. Option B, abstract factory. Option C, strategy. Option D, adapter. The correct answer is C. The strategy pattern is a behavioral pattern that enables selecting an algorithm's behavior at runtime. Singleton and abstract factory are creational patterns concerned with object creation, and adapter is a structural pattern concerned with how classes and objects are composed. That wraps up our 30-question deep dive into advanced Java OOP. How many did you get right? If you struggled with the design patterns or the nuances of method hiding, don't worry. These are the topics that separate the juniors from the seniors. If you found this helpful, hit the like button and share it with your fellow developers. Let me know your score in the comments below. If you want to test your skills with the full timed exam simulation, check out the link in the description below.